Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a powerful secret for hitting any goal. And believe it or not, it comes from a very unexpected place. The CIA. Yeah, we're talking about a method for building consistency that's practically unbreakable. Not through sheer force, but through a complete shift in how you think.
So let's just start with this pretty wild idea from a former field officer. The agency actually teaches that the constant battle for self-discipline, the very thing we're all told is the key to success, is actually a flawed strategy. It's a high-effort approach that, frankly, is pretty much designed to fail.
And that, of course, raises a huge question, one that challenges pretty much everything we've been taught about achieving our goals. If grinding it out and forcing yourself with willpower is the wrong path, then what's the right one? What do spies rely on when failure just isn't an option?
Well, the agency's training reveals that relying on discipline alone is just fundamentally inefficient. It's kind of like trying to power an entire city with a single overworked generator. Sooner or later, it's going to burn out. It's a battle that, in the long run, is totally rigged against you.
And here's why that approach is so draining. Discipline takes a ton of mental and emotional energy. And when you inevitably slip up, because you're human, what happens? You beat yourself up. That negative head trash, as they call it, kicks in, and it makes it even harder to get back on track. It just becomes this awful, vicious cycle.
The alternative is a complete shift in your approach. So instead of that high-effort, guilt-driven struggle of discipline, intelligence officers focus on a low-effort, data-driven system of consistency. See, the goal isn't to force a perfect day. It's to build a system that can easily withstand an imperfect one.
Okay, so let's really explore this powerful alternative. And I want to be clear, this isn't just a different word. It's a completely different operating system for your brain, and it's one that's designed for real-world, high-stakes environments.
This brings us to the core concept, mission-based consistency. The whole idea is to shift from forcing your willpower to just building a simple, repeatable system. Think of it like a mission protocol, a series of small, non-negotiable actions that just get done, no matter what.
This simple statement, it really captures the entire mindset shift, doesn't it? It reframes the goal from this daily, exhausting struggle to an achievable, almost easy, daily practice. It's about making success the path of least resistance.
Okay, let's make this really actionable. How do you actually implement this mindset? We're going to break down 3 specific strategies that intelligence officers use, and you can start using them literally today.
The first strategy completely reframes how you look at mistakes. A missed day at the gym or a project deadline you didn't quite hit, that isn't some moral failing. Nope. In the world of intelligence, it's just new data.
This is where you apply a process called the debrief. Instead of blaming yourself, you analyze the slip-up. First, you just acknowledge what happened. No guilt allowed. Then, you look for patterns. The source gives a great example. Maybe you realize you consistently miss day 8 of a new habit. Now that is valuable intel. Now you can ask, why? What's breaking down? And finally, you adjust the system itself instead of just trying to force yourself to try harder.
Now this brings us to the second strategy, which totally changes how we measure progress. This quote is so important. Society tells us to measure ourselves against some future goal, but in intelligence, that's a mistake.
Spies use what's called reverse measurement. They measure their progress against their consistent starting point. So why do they do that? Well, think about it. The end goal can change, and it often does. A new client comes in, a new market trend pops up, the mission shifts. But your starting point? That's a fixed, reliable anchor. This keeps you motivated by how far you've come, not discouraged by how far you still have to go.
And the final strategy is all about maintaining your consistency when your external world is unpredictable and, let's be honest, chaotic, which is something a field officer knows all too well.
Look, a spy's environment is always changing, so that continuity has to come from within. Your power of choice is the one constant you can always rely on. If your mission is to go for a run every day, you don't panic if it's raining, you adapt. You do an indoor workout. The key is to expect external chaos and rely completely on your internal system.
So how do you start? Let's make this incredibly simple and practical. We're going to turn all this theory into your very first mission, which you can start tomorrow morning.
This is the exact example the officer gives. See? It's not about transforming your life overnight. It's about choosing a simple, low-effort action that creates an easy win. The point isn't even really about the hydration. It's about building the muscle of consistency that you can then apply to your work, your fitness, or any other goal you have. And this right here, this is the key takeaway.
Consistency isn't built on grand, heroic gestures. It's built on a foundation of small, repeated, undeniable successes. You're not just drinking water, you're proving to yourself that you can follow through on a mission.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Because this isn't just some spy tactic, it's a fundamental principle for achieving anything meaningful. What's that one area of your life that could be completely transformed, not by more discipline, but by a simple, unbreakable, mission-based consistency?